Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. And do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the addition of acceptance of Tanner Belfiny's resignation from planning and zoning.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion passes. And the next thing on our agenda is the council liaison update, please.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission, and thank you for making it out on this weather advisory evening. Hopefully, the meeting doesn't get go too long. We don't get snowed in. I'm Brian Mundell, your City Council liaison. Kind of a short update this time. Council authorized advertising for a senior planner position. Last night's work meeting, council recommended raising park fees from $2,000 to $3,500 and trail fees to $1,500. That will come back in front of council for approval. On Friday, December 5th, the second annual Christmas tree lighting will take place at the Senior Center. It's going to start at 6 and go to 8:30. This is a very family-friendly event with activities for kids, treats to eat, and if we're on the nice list, a visit from Santa. So again, that's Friday, December 5th at the Senior Center right next door. That'll start at 6 o'clock. That's all I have. Do you have any questions or comments from anybody? All right, well, as always, thank you for your service to the city. And I hope everybody happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you get to spend it with family or friends.
Thank you, Brian.
You too.
Yes.
And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is the approval of minutes from the October 28th, 2025 meeting. Does anybody have any corrections?
I just seen line 27, it says our next meeting is November 20th.
I noticed that too, yeah.
I don't know if that really
Okay.
matters. I didn't see anything else.
I didn't see anything else either.
Okay, and Glenn Terry did have one correction. He said on line 117, the pronoun they should be changed to the Met Council. So Grace, you've got those two corrections then?
Yes, I've got
Okay,
those
perfect.
noted.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None? That motion passes. Alrighty, the next thing is the election of the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. And I am going to nominate Corey Jorgensen for the position of Vice Chairperson for the Planning Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Fabulous. Any discussion? Are you okay with this?
I'm okay with
Corey,
that.
okay,
Yep.
good. I appreciate it. And,
You're welcome.
yeah, love to have you. Okay,
Thanks.
any other discussion? If not, let's, do we have to do a written?
Let's
We
do
probably
that
should, yeah.
just so we have it. If you want to write down your vote for that, I will take those. tally
Okay,
votes.
so we can just write yes or no.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so write yes or no. Yes being you like Corey, no being you don't like Corey.
There's a no.
This is a secret ballot. There you go. And Grace will tabulate the results.
All right, no surprises there. Congratulations, Commissioner Jorgensen.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Corey.
And the next thing we're going to do is an interview of the Planning Commission applicant, Gerald Tiah. I'm not sure of the pronunciation of the name and. That's right. Okay, perfect. Okay, and go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, so the Planning Commission received an application from Gerald Tiah at the end of October for the vacant Planning Commission seat. The term for this seat ends on January 31st of 2026. Per city code, appointment can only be made for the current term of the unoccupied seat. At that time, so in January, if Mr. Tiah is appointed, he would be eligible for reappointment. Commissioners, I provided you with the city's standard interview questions to use tonight. You are welcome to change or expand on those questions as you see fit. At the end of the interview, the commissioners will vote on whether to recommend appointment of Mr. Tiah. If recommended, he will be appointed at the December 8th City Council meeting and can assume his seat at the next Planning Commission meeting, which is scheduled for December 23rd.
December 23rd. All right. Okay. Well, Gerald, thank you so much for coming
thank you
forward
for
to
having
apply
me.
for this. And we're going to be asking you some questions,
Okay.
and then you can kind of wrap up with some comments if you'd like to. But again, thank you. And Brian's going to start.
Good evening, Mr. Tiah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So why are you interested in becoming a commission member for East Bethel?
Yeah, there's several things, really. My kids grew up here. I've been living in this area for close to probably 19 years now. I built my house here. And I love the people. Yeah, it's one of the things that really kind of triggered me to apply. So,
Thank you.
I get the next one, Gerald.
yes.
What strengths and abilities would you bring to the Planning Commission?
Yeah, for me, I'm well educated, and that's something I kind of rely on. I have a lot of experience in the corporate world, both with planning or making big decisions and stuff like that, whether for a building a smart data center to building a cloud environment. So that's something I can bring to the table as well.
Okay. Thank you.
As a Planning Commission member, what do you believe is your role as representative of the city?
Well, for me, I take it as being an example of the city. So basically, I have to kind of set example. So somebody sees me, they see the city, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for. So.
Okay, thanks.
Good
Hi.
evening, how are you? Good. So what is your vision for the Highway 65 corridor?
Yeah, that's something that I drive on like every day, and I really want to see it kind of improve, not just improve, but more safety there. And my vision is either we have something like an overpass, or that people can go over the highway versus people kind of crossing the highway, and that's something that by my house I pretty much crunch every time I see people just moving across the highway. So something of an overpass maybe, but yeah, that's something I'm hoping that we can kind of fix because it seems like something might happen, and that's kind of scary.
Thank you.
Do you hold any roles that might put you in conflict of interest as a planning commission member? Any financial, familial, or community roles that you're currently engaged in?
No, I'm a lead tech for the city of St. Francis right now, but no, I don't see any conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Before we end the interview, do you have any questions for us, or is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, yeah, you did mention about the highway, and that's something that I had listed. But the last few years, I've been kind of looking at doing some planting as far as more for the community, and that's something that I'm not seeing that we really put in time into. I know, like growing, showing the kids how to grow and things like that, and that's something that's very dear to my heart. So, is that something that's been planned to tend to look at having like a big community garden, that at least we have somebody who actually at least oversees it?
Yeah, I don't think as a city, there really is anything like that.
Okay.
We have a farm on Highway 65, we're Minnesota Fresh Farm,
Okay.
right north of Viking, and people come by all the time and kind of do that type of thing there.
Okay, so basically, is it available to the entire city? Like, you can just go? and-
Well, so yeah, I mean, we grow food there. If people want to learn how to grow food, we'll tell them. and selling plants too. But as for a city thing, we really don't have any city gardens or anything like that, as far as I know.
Yeah, and just the last question I saw like a huge renovation rate of 65. Is that more of a residential area when going there, or we're looking at having like some businesses? I think it's probably about Vikings and 65. I think.
Yeah, and that's really the corridor that we're talking about. I mean, the question from Christina is kind of like, what is the vision for that? And we'll be actually working on that in the next few years as we have to start working on our plans for 2050 already about what are we going to do with that corridor, businesses and residences and apartment buildings and things like that. So does that answer the question, or?
Yeah,
Is it more detailed?
Yeah, it's a little bit more details. That's something that, well, hopefully when I only the team,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a more discussion on it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, if you are appointed on the commission, it's a really exciting time to be doing this, to be going through the city planning for 25 years down the road. We'll have meetings with the public and kind of get their ideas and then shape them into a plan, which is really fun to do.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. We thank you very, very much. And gentlemen and lady, do you have anything else to say?
No.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Gerald,
you.
very, very much. And now I think what we'll do is to just on your sheets of paper, again, we could just write yes or no as a recommendation. And then this will be going on to the city council meeting, which is December 18th, you said?
Yes, if you recommend the appointment, this will be on the December 8th city council meeting.
December 8th?
December 8th, yes.
Okay, so then it would be possible to, if we do have a December planning commission meeting,
Yes, you will likely have a December planning commission meeting, and if he is appointed, we'll do the oath of office at the beginning, or the oath at the beginning of the meeting, and then he'll assume his seat on the planning commission after that, if appointed.
okay. And then Gerald, also, if you are accepted with the city council and come to the December meeting, then we would ask if you want to be reappointed for the whole term going on, because your position would be expiring in January, actually. So,
Congratulations, Mr. Tiah. You have been recommended for appointment to the East Bethel Planning Commission.
okay, congratulations.
Welcome.
Okay, the next item is a public hearing.
This is a public hearing for front and side yard setback variances at 19511 East Front Boulevard. Joseph and Sherry Belcheck have applied for 2 variances to allow the construction of a 1,250 square foot attached garage on their property at 19511 East Front Boulevard. This property is 0.32 acres. It is approximately 74 feet in width and 176 feet in length. It is guided and zoned Coon Lake Residential and is within the Shoreland Overlay District. The surrounding properties are guided and zoned the same, and this property borders Coon Lake on its eastern edge. The requests are first for a variance from Section 51, Subdivision 7B of the zoning ordinance to allow a front yard setback of 19 feet, 8.4 inches, where a setback of 25 feet is required within the Shoreland Overlay District. The second variance is from that same subdivision of the zoning ordinance to allow a side yard setback of 5 feet, 8.4 inches, where a side yard setback of 7 feet is required. This side yard variance is being sought because the current structure does have the same setback, but the new structure would be expanding the area that is non-compliant with the code. So the current portion, or the current garage is angled, so a small portion of the wall is that 5 feet, 8.4 inches from the property line. But the new garage, as proposed, would have a straight wall on that southern side, and that entire wall would be that 5 feet, 8.4 inches from the property line setback. So this would be expanding that nonconformity. That's why the side yard variance is being sought. Each variance should be considered separately. The Planning Commission may recommend approval of one both or neither of the variances. If only the front yard setback variance is approved, the applicant would be required to reduce the width or relocate the garage or maintain the original angle of the garage to bring it into compliance with the existing setback. If only the side yard setback is approved, the applicant would be required to reduce the depth of the garage by at least 5 feet 3.4 inches to bring it into conformity with the required 25-foot front yard setback. When evaluating a variance, the burden of proof is on the applicant to show that they have a practical difficulty that can only be remedied by the granting of a variance. We use a test called the Practical Difficulties Test to evaluate this. There are 3 standards. The first is that this request is reasonable. This evaluates whether the applicant is proposing to use the property in a way that is sensible but not explicitly authorized by the code. The second standard is that this request is due to unique circumstances on the property that are not caused by the landowner and not solely for financial reasons. So this is often something like sloping topography or proximity to a wetland or body of water. That means that the applicant cannot meet the standards established within the code due to a difficulty that they did not create but is something inherent to their land. The third standard is that the variance, if granted, will not have a negative impact on neighborhood character. So this looks at whether the proposed action would look out of place or out of scale in the neighborhood. Findings of fact have been provided within your packet for each of the standards for each variance. These do need to be modified as staff could not determine findings in support or denial of some of these standards. You will notice that your packet has some red highlighting over the things that will need to be determined by the Planning Commission tonight if you choose to find facts for those findings. This is a quick look at the elevations of the building itself. It meets the architecture and square footage standards for a property of this size for this type of construction. The garage is 50 feet in depth and proposed to be 25 feet in length. As a reminder, our minimum garage size in East Bethel is 24 feet in length, or 24 feet in length and 24 feet in width. The garage is on the left side of your screen towards the street, and then the house is extending off of that towards the right side of your screen. This is a look at the site plan for this property, the survey. You can see the existing home, the proposed attached garage, and the location of the septic area. It's approximately 13 feet north of the proposed garage. It's maintaining this current setback from the current garage that's there to the septic area, that 13 feet. And this also marks the distances from the property lines and site features of the garage. No variance for impervious surface is required due to the fact that this is overall reducing the amount of impervious surface on the property. Staff directs the Planning Commission to open the public hearing and make a recommendation to the City Council based on the applicant's submission and the information available to you tonight. You may recommend approval or denial of the variances. There are draft resolutions of approval and denial within your packet. These resolutions require modification by the Planning Commission for findings of fact which could not be established by city staff. The resolutions may also be modified for approval of one variance or denial of another. You are also welcome to add conditions to an approval resolution. Before we open the public hearing, I would like to note that I received a letter from a neighboring property owner shortly before this meeting in support of both variance requests today. That will be entered into the record. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, and I didn't quite catch that. So was the neighbor okay with it? Or?
Yes, the
Okay.
neighbor wrote a letter in support of the request.
Okay. I'm opening the public hearing on this matter, and what I'd ask, if there's anybody who's not the property owner, come up first and state your opinion, ask some questions, and then we will take those down. Thank you so much, Brian. Okay, so if anybody who's not the owner, please come up to the podium here and just say your name and speak into the microphone, please. And then just let us know if you have any questions or what your opinion is.
I'm David Sikowski. I live next door to Joe and Sherry, and I live to the north, and I would recommend bigger garage if people could do it, because I think the East Bethel is starting to look a little bit junky from neighbors that have their stuff all outside. And I think if you drive up on Viking Boulevard and just look at the neighborhoods there, that they're not doing so good. I think we need more garages to put their junk away.
Okay, well,
That's
thank
all
you.
I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to speak on this matter who is not the homeowner? And if not, is the homeowner here? I am. Okay, would you mind coming up in case we have any questions, or, and if you would like to just kind of say a few words too, please?
You want me to talk first?
Yep,
Oh.
yeah, and if you could just state your name again for the record.
I'm Joe Belchek, and
Mhm.
I live just south of Dave there, and he's not talking about my junk, I hope.
Uh-huh.
I do have a trailer in my, trying to get my garage ready. But I'm just very hopeful that you can grant my variance request, so I'll be able to put my stuff in the garage and have room to do that.
Have you looked at shortening the length and putting the width a little bit shorter so that it could come closer to the variance? Because I think even if you were to do the 24 by 24, you wouldn't even still be in compliance, would you, with setbacks?
Well, I already have a 24 by 24 garage, and
Mhm.
it's not big enough to put what I have in there, so that's why I'm asking for a big garage.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want to make it so that.
To make Dave happy.
Well,
Wait,
not
no, just kidding.
myself too, it's for me mostly.
Mhm.
But, because I don't store the trailer at the house, it's just, I'm trying to pack stuff up and organize, hopefully, and hoping that you guys will approve the variance. So it's, because the septic is where it is, I can't do a 3-car garage there, it just doesn't have the width. So my request to make the garage longer so that I could park a car in front, or my boat in front of the 2 cars, my wife's and my truck. So it'd be really nice to have the room to put my stuff inside for the winter.
Yeah. When you did the application, was it discussed with you either on the paper or with Grace about the 3 different tests?
Yes, yep.
And so like what made it, in your mind, what makes your property unique that you
it's-
should get the variance?
It's not any different than a lot of the lake lots there. They're lake lots, they're skinny, they all have septic, and because of the distance from the lake, you've got that much land you can't build on. Then you've got the septic, so anything that goes in front. And it's already, I don't know when they changed the laws to have the garage, because it's a non-conforming structure is what I was told, the garage in front
way
of the
it is
house
now.
detached. So it's already non-conforming. And did you get a new survey that says my garage is 5 foot 8.4 inches from the side? Because I was told it was 5.7, and that was the original survey, but I think you asked for another survey?
Yeah, the most recent copy of the survey I have says it's 5.7 feet, but converted to, that's 5 feet, 8.4
Oh,
inches.
that's,
yes.
well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So he did 5.7 feet, not 5 foot 7 inches. Okay, I was under the impression that it was different, so that's what is in feet and inches. And then we're turning the garage so it's parallel with the property line to keep it away from the septic. And I really need the extra room, and there's gonna be a storage room above it, and inside the garage there has to be a stairway to get to it, so that takes up some room inside as well.
That was one thing I was gonna ask too, is if you could go up a little bit too. And you are already doing that.
Yeah, it's a nice, and in the variance letter, the application, our practical difficulties, it really explains that. If you read through that, it goes into the septic being where it is, and trying to keep back from there. And if you look at other properties right down the street, there's many that are much closer to the property line than mine, even on the property line. There's several houses that are have structures 20 feet from the side of the street, actually. So being that there's about 17 feet from the curb to my property line, and then another 25 feet from the property line to where I would have to put the garage if I shorten it, that's why I'm asking to come just another 4 feet, so I get enough room to put 2 cars in, like this. So it'll be like a 4-car garage, but 2 of them will be like the summer stuff or a boat. There'll be room to put that in there.
Okay. Gentlemen, lady, do you have anything that you'd like to ask
No.
of Joel?
I'm assuming it's all attached and the same siding, same shingles.
Yeah, we're gonna match
the house.
and it's gonna. I want it to look really nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a shake on the front. It's gonna be gable end. The existing garage has the roof going this way. The gables can
Okay.
be, well, you saw it from the
Yeah.
picture. Well, the other picture,
Mhm.
the gables facing the street.
I think my only, and again, I know one of your neighbors is here. Anyone else, I know letters go out and such like that, but
Yeah.
anyone else
Well,
they made any comments or?
Everybody that I've talked to, because several people came by, and they said that they're all, I haven't heard anybody disagree with it, so I'm happy to see nobody came to disagree.
That's all I have.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the lots are different there, so
Yeah, I'm
it's-
really nervous because I really, really would like to be able to do with that with my property, and it's not gonna change, it's not gonna be any closer to the street than my neighbor Dave's garage. If you look at his property, his garage comes about the same as I'm requesting, and then, like I said, I got some more pictures of other houses that are close, but I spoke with Tanner, because Tanner's my neighbor actually, and he said, well, you don't have to go into all that. And he said, don't make a big speech or anything. So I'm trying to, I usually talk too much.
Bring it
and
out to you.
I'm really nervous, so I just kind of want to shut up. But I will answer.
It's
any
your chance,
I will
right?
answer any questions that you would like, but I haven't heard anybody complain.
Okay. Okay, well, Joe, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for your consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm closing the public hearing, and so now we'll have our discussion among ourselves, and in Glenn Terry's absence, he did want to say one thing here, it's a couple sentences. So this is from Glenn, it says, "My opinion is that the front yard setback does not meet the variance standards, as the garage could have its length reduced to fulfill the setback requirements. That particular dimension is by preference of the owner, not due to conditions or hardship." And he said the side yard setback variance is fine in order to comply with the required 20-foot wide garage standard. Okay, and what do you folks have to say?
Well, I agreed with pretty much what Glenn had said. The front yard setback, 5 feet doesn't seem like a lot, but then again, I've filled garages. I know that the space fills up real quick, and 5 feet could mean the difference. It sounds like the homeowner's really considered this and is aware of that setback, but is nonetheless asking, and I think I would want to go ahead and move forward with it, go ahead and approve it. It just,
You're thinking you would?
yeah, and then as far as the side yard setback, yeah, I think that's fine how it is, so. Like I said, Glenn took the words out of my mouth, so.
Okay. Corey?
I think everybody knows I'm all for a big garage like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate the fact that he is gonna construct it like the house, and that's my big thing. I don't wanna see just a tin shed, then I'd be like, no. But when the homeowners are making an effort to fit the neighborhood, I unless it really impedes things like snow plowing or something, but it's not gonna, and so I'm for it.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that it certainly isn't going to change the character of the neighborhood, is it? Because, I mean, they're all like that because of the septic and whatever. I agree with Brian, what you said, and Glenn also. I was kind of trying to dig to see if it's possible to shorten a little bit to give a bit more, but we do have some discretion on this, correct, Grace?
What do you mean with discretion?
Well, I mean, so I would say that the hardest one to overcome is the uniqueness of the property, because you could build and you have built or somebody has built a garage that did fit, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a complicated request in the sense that several of the surrounding properties do have garages that encroach on setbacks. What's perhaps what I would like to point out about this, and what's pointed out in your packet, is that this proposed garage is significantly larger than many of those garages that encroach on the setbacks. So that's something I would implore you to consider. And then if you do recommend approval of the front yard setback variance tonight, We just ask that you provide findings of fact that it's a reasonable request and that it's due to those unique circumstances. So I'd want you guys to identify why, the reasoning for why it's reasonable and why there's a unique circumstance on the property. But if you can satisfy those standards, then yes, you are able to recommend approval.
Okay.
You're also welcome to reduce, or you can say it's not reasonable for a garage of this size, but we could allow a setback encroachment of this many feet as opposed to what's being proposed tonight. You have some ability to amend the draft resolution in that way too.
I think the uniqueness is there because of the lot.
I agree.
On all of
And-
these. Mhm.
Yeah.
And obviously a septic system and setbacks and well setbacks and, you know, I mean, that's where the uniqueness comes in this place.
And you're saying that's for the length of the lot,
Yeah.
not just the width of the lot?
Right,
Correct.
right.
Yeah, and the limitations of, you know, where
Yeah.
the septic is, and
Mhm.
there's just no other,
Yeah,
there's no other direction to go.
right.
Right, I mean, I really do think that that's the only one we really have to justify. The other ones, character of the the neighborhood is nothing at all.
And then the reasoning for the reasonable request would be
It's a reasonable and good use of the
good use of the
property.
property? Okay.
How many feet was it from the edge of the road then, when it was?
It'd be like 30-some feet.
Right,
36 feet from the edge of the road, but
Right.
again, only about 19 feet from, or 18, 19,
right.
19, 20 feet from the
So I
property
mean, there's a
line.
huge boulevard, like I say, for snow plowing. If we required people to plant a tree, he's got room for that. Someday, they're gonna run sewer and water through there, and then things would be different, but that's way down the road. And so he's limited because of what his well and septic.
Mhm. Any more discussion? Is there a motion? And anybody need a kind of a cheat sheet on the motion?
What page?
Oh, shoot.
What page number is that?
We're just trying to find the resolution.
It'd be page number 12 in your packet.
So if somebody wants to just kind of read the first part of page 12. Do the variances have to be done separately?
You can make a motion to approve both variances. So approve a variance for front yard setback and side yard setback, yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve both setbacks at 19511 East Front Boulevard for the garage addition.
is there a second?
I second.
Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? So that motion passes. So, there you are. Okay, so this is going in front of the city council December 8th. And, remember that this is just a recommendation to them and they get to make the decisions. Okay. And thanks for standing up there and talking, despite what Tanner said.
I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be able to write something, end to end.
All right, so, item number 8 is another public hearing, and Grace,
Yes, this is a public hearing for a conditional use permit for a lower potency hemp edible retailer at 18429 Highway 65 Northeast. Ramadan Hussein, who is the applicant and owner of the smoke saloon, has applied for a CUP to allow the operation of a lower potency hemp edible retailer at 18429 Highway 65 Northeast, also known as the smoke saloon. This property is guided and zoned commercial. The properties to the south and north are guided and zoned the same. Property to the east is guided and zoned mixed use, and the property to the west is Highway 65. This business currently holds a cannabinoid license from the city and operates as a lower potency hemp edible retailer. Due to a statute that was adopted during the 2025 legislative session, hemp edibles businesses are required, or all cannabis and hemp edibles businesses are required to be licensed by the Office of Cannabis Management instead of the local government unit who has previously been licensing hemp businesses. To obtain a license from the OCM, the local government unit must verify that the business complies with the local zoning ordinance. City Ordinance 2024-05 established lower potency hemp edible retailer as a conditional use within the B3 zoning district. So to obtain a lower potency hemp edibles license from the Office of Cannabis Management, the state, the business must first receive a CUP to allow the proposed use on the property so that the city can verify the zoning. The request is for a CUP to allow the operation of this type of business located at the Smoke Saloon. A lower potency hemp edibles retailer is a conditional use within the B3 zoning district. On the screen, you'll find the definition for a lower potency hemp edibles retailer and a description of the business, the types of business that can be conducted there. A hemp business is not a cannabis business. I would like to make that very clear. They are defined separately in our ordinance and by the state, by the OCM. Lower potency hemp edibles retailers are prohibited from selling or delivering cannabis flower, cannabis product, or hemp-derived consumer products, excluding edible products. So they can sell those edibles, but not any other hemp consumer products. I also like to emphasize that granting of a CUP by the city does not guarantee that the applicant will be granted the necessary licensure by the OCM or be able to register with the city if the applicant does not meet the requirements there. So the OCM conducts their own application process, inspections, and has their own regulations, and then our administrative department as the city conducts their own process for the registration of the business, which also involves an inspection and an application. So this is just a very small part of that overall licensing would be the issuing of the CUP. Our code establishes standards for reviews for a CUP. Those standards are listed on the screen. A quick overview of the information included in your packet is that the applicant is not proposing any applications to the site, so nothing on the outside of the building. The business description included in your packet has a safety and security plan. This has also been reviewed by city staff. Sheriff and fire have provided no comments of concern on this request. And this property or this business, again, is also subject to the regulations and inspections required by the OCM and the city prior to obtaining licensure and registration. This business must comply with local, state, and federal laws for hemp businesses in our city. Those include Section 30 of the zoning ordinance and Chapter 18, Article 4 of the city code. These go over things like standards for noise, odor, hours of operation, signage. Those have been included in your packet. One thing I would like to note is that a condition of approval on this resolution and noted in your packet is that the applicant does have at least one sign which did not receive a sign permit from the city and several electronic signs on the building interior which violate the standards for signage established within Section 30 of the code for hemp and cannabis business signage. Conditions have been added to require the applicant to remove these signs or get permits for them. Staff did not feel that this was a great enough violation or concern to recommend denial of the CUP based on that alone. I just wanted to bring that up tonight. That is something that can be addressed in those conditions. The city may impose additional conditions on the approval of the CUP beyond what is recommended in that resolution by our staff. Staff directs the Planning Commission to open the public hearing and make a recommendation to the City Council. Based on the applicant's submission and information available to you tonight, the Planning Commission may recommend approval or denial of the CUP. A draft resolution of approval with conditions has been prepared and may be modified. A resolution of denial may also be prepared at the request of the Planning Commission with findings of fact recommended by the commissioners. Before we get into the discussion portion of this, I just want to kind of guide our discussion and what we can evaluate and what we are not evaluating tonight. So the state has allowed local governments to adopt ordinances to regulate hemp and cannabis businesses. The city adopted Ordinance 2024-05, which establishes standards and regulations governing cannabis businesses in East Bethel. This ordinance was approved by the City Council with the intent to, at least in part, safeguard the health, safety, and welfare of East Bethel's residents. So this ordinance includes things like buffer distances for cannabis businesses from daycares and schools and parks, things like odor and noise regulations, and we also limit the number of registrants for each of these types of businesses within our city. Tonight we're discussing whether the CUP application and the proposed ways in which this business will be operated are in violation of the CUP standards or would violate those CUP standards and the standards established within Ordinance 2024-05. We are not discussing whether the city should allow cannabis or hemp businesses to operate at all. That was established via Ordinance 2024-05 and the state laws surrounding cannabis and hemp business. So I highly advise you to consider what is brought up tonight and to make your best judgment, but to make your recommendation not based on a blanket statement such as cannabis is harmful to health. We are evaluating the business tonight and their operations as proposed with the CUP. So just wanted to set that out here before we assume our discussion. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Anyone have any questions for Grace before we open the public hearing? Okay.
I have
Want to-
sorry, I just
No,
have one
go.
question. I'm not sure if it's you or maybe the business owner, but per my understanding, is this just the license is currently expiring at the end of 2025?
Yes, so I'm not super keen to the nuances of the state law, but from what I've heard, what I've learned and what I've learned from our administrative staff here who does that registration process and who's currently registering this business, licensing this business, is that expires at the end of this year. So to operate in the new year, a license will be required from the state as those registrations are adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm opening up the public hearing for this matter. And if there's anyone who is not the owner of the business, has any comments, and come on up and to the podium and speak about them. But remember what Grace said, that we're not debating here tonight whether cannabis is a good thing or a bad thing. What we're talking about is the conditional use permit itself. Okay, does anyone want to come up and speak, please? And please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Bruce Lawrence, and my address is 18505 Highway 65. Been a property owner for about 12, 13 years now. And the reason that we stand before you, and fortunately with Brittany, the owner of the 5D dispensary, being here. Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Right.
when we
Right.
have the chance, we'll have one person speak at a time in the microphone, just so that they can be caught in the minutes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I brought my real estate broker as well.
Yep. I'm Jamie Borden, selling 18505 Highway 65, East Bethel.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the reason that we are here, folks, is this property has been sold 2 times now, and it's been sabotaged each time.
The property where this business is?
Yes, yes. Again, number one, it's next to the food shelf, okay? We're behind the liquor store where the Nace food shelf is, and I own the half of the building. They own the other half that the 18 churches paid for years ago. So my buyers currently, ultimately, were opening a dispensary business themselves, a dedicated dispensary that would make East Bethel a destination city. A consultant had been hired for the cannabis industry. That's like a $5,000 to $10,000 a month service that's being performed. So people from the cannabis industry have cited that building on Highway 65 as the best location. Now, it just so happens that this location, this $600,000 sale that's been crushed, is where there's 1,000 feet between my building and the dispensary that is seeking the other license. So here's our challenge. Our challenge is that what we are looking to open has absolutely, it doesn't look at all the same like what they're opening there. The vibe is different, the products will be different. They run a wellness center. We're talking about a complete dispensary focused completely on that situation. Now, originally, the state wanted East Bethel to have 4 licenses, not 2. Now, Jamie and I had a meeting with Matt Look I've been a backer and a supporter of him for many, many years. And we had about an hour meeting where, he did identify that he just assumed there'd be no cannabis in East Bethel ever. He's not an advocate. Okay, that's fair. However, I told him, well, then we're bringing you the best of the worst, Matt, because what we have is a compliant, consulted property owner that's coming into our community that also owns a construction business. So the construction business would be on one side, the cannabis dispensary would be on the other. Now, I want to make it clear that I don't have any objections either to 5D or their license. As a matter of fact, we believe in our studies, there's a such thing called synergy, that her establishment would make more money along with ours with us being there versus not being there, okay? And that, the best way to explain that is, I'm sure everybody knows, if you have a McDonald's on one corner, you got a Taco Bell across the street, and you got a Wendy's over here, and a Burger King over here, all four of them make more money than they would if there's just a lone location. And that's been well proven through many, many analytical data reports that have been released, and that's the reason why, because we as Americans like choices. So I can just tell you, as a three-tour war veteran here, who is a member of this community, obviously I have learned how to get along with people in times of great conflict. You can't be a helicopter paramedic in 3 wars and not. Have a heart for people, be empathetic and understanding. So I'm not here to down anybody or anything. I simply would like my building sale to be able to, continue to take place. The other thing, of course, and we had Mr. Tiah here apply to the commission, the gentlemen that are our partners, they're both Mexican gentlemen. They live in the area, I live in the area, I live in the same zip code, obviously, as well, okay? And we believe that it would be a good thing for additional business owners to come in, because right now we are a 93.7% Caucasian city. So I'm not big on the whole social justice, social equity. I'm a conservative politically, person. But at the same time, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Eagan, Cottage Grove, some of the largest cities in our state do not have an ordinance where there's a buffer zone of 1,000 feet between 2 licensees. East Bethel adopted this ordinance on its own, okay? The state gives you folks what's called considerable control, which means that the state framework is rather flexible, okay? To where ultimately the things that are mandated by the state is a 1,000-foot buffer from schools, as Grace mentioned, 500-foot buffer from parks, recreational areas, or places where minors reside. There is nothing in the state's laws, rules, mandate, any of that stuff that would keep somebody like 5D and our dispensary from doing business in the city. We obviously were the early adopters of the situation.
Sir, this is not a public hearing for 5D dispensary. This is for the smoke saloon.
Okay, well, fair enough, understood. And all I'm saying is that right now, my concern, and those gentlemen came to you, Grace, originally. So when the gentlemen came to do their due diligence, they came down to the city to see Grace and whoever else here to get the application. However, and again, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not trying to be critical here. But at the same time, there has to be some accountability and there has to be some shared responsibility, in my humble opinion, that we're all learning here. And there are a lot of mistakes being made.
Okay.
And that's something that Jamie and I got directly from talking to the folks at the state. As a matter of fact, right now, things are so new that they don't even have the ability to document disciplinary action. So when the state comes in and does anything, the only way to get it is some sort of data report potentially, and they don't even have access to that. So they said, well, you know what, you want to come down and talk to your council about that and let them know that, you know, Minnesota's going to need 381 dispensaries, 381, in order to be compliant with that which the governor passed for cannabis to be entering into our state. That's
Okay,
why
Bruce,
they wanted 4.
you've had quite a bit of time
Yeah.
to talk here, and I appreciate your comments very much.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that this is like a wide open thing. Could you just succinctly tell us whether you are opposed or in favor of this particular matter that's in front of you with the COP?
I'm not opposed to it. I'm in favor of it as well. I think Mr. Hussein, who I've met, that has also the tobacco shop and the hemp license, and those two things don't, you know, they're not competing. At the same time, though, I think the gentleman at the tobacco shop, because he owns a lot of other businesses, many other locations. East Bethel's probably his smallest. But at the same time, he, 5D, and ourselves, we really do represent, succinctly, we are downtown East Bethel. Where we're located here, we don't have, this is not the commerce area. On Highway 65, where we all reside, and this is why this isn't going to be the last time that this happens, you know, as things continue to grow, as our population grows, as all of those new houses, the quick trips, all of these other things for the emotional and mental health, you know, people, we're a growing city, and we're growing very fast now. Things are starting to catch momentum, I'm sure you'd agree. So we believe that it would just, again, it would help the city obviously make additional revenue. It would make all of us, 3 in the businesses, make additional revenue. And we serve and dedicate our businesses to a separate and different customer, so to speak, you know. Because what they're doing with the wellness center, what the other tobacco shop's doing with his items in his business.
Okay, so again, succinctly.
None of it competes. So my issue here and what we're looking to bring to the table is we would like to ask that this ordinance of this 1,000 feet between 2 licensees either be amended, abolished, or adjusted in good faith, so that just like Minneapolis and St. Paul and all of the rest of the big cities in our state, that we can certainly have a little bit of competition, however friendly.
Right, and we don't have that power to do that, so that's going to be a city council thing.
Understood.
That you'd
And
have
that's,
to bring that in.
That's why
So,
I asked
and
the audience.
Right now, you don't have a dispensary yourself.
No.
Right, but you own the building.
Correct.
I'm a little bit lost, as you can tell. So,
Well, I can tell you that I've lost a great deal. You know, this is $600,000 property, and with 2 sales being made and both of them being crushed by minor things, it's a little disheartening, obviously.
Sure. Understand.
I'm selling the building because
if
I'm
this
looking
goes
to-
through, you're selling the building.
No, I'm selling the building anyway. I was selling the building. The people that bought the building, they are partners that want to open the dispensary and move their construction company. So they're a construction company and corporation that also owns a dispensary that they would like to open in our city because they live in our area as well. And so now, with our attempt to come and, even Matt said, well, where's the application? And I had to let him know. Well, Grace stated that she wasn't able to accept another application at this time. And I obviously know the city, we have a consultant that, again, we're learning from. Is that a fair statement, Grace? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, you know, we're all, like I say, we're all learning things. That's why I say I'm not here to point fingers or say, oh, you didn't do this right or you didn't do that right. We're all learning. And I just don't want the 9 families that are involved in this sale, in this transaction, to be punished over something that would ultimately benefit our city and the 2 other businesses that would reside next to it. So-
But granting a conditional use permit for Mr. Hussein will not be detrimental to you.
May I provide some context here?
Yes.
So, Mr. Hussein has applied for a hemp business. A hemp business is not a cannabis business. They are separate in our ordinance and separate in definition from the state. So, the granting of a CUP for Mr. Hussein smoke saloon, it does not have any impact on the buffer distance that our commenter here is referencing. So, again, difference between a hemp business and a cannabis business. Our next item is a cannabis business, but this item is a hemp business. So again, not applicable to that cannabis buffer area.
Okay, thank you a lot for that.
In that regard, then I'm speaking a little bit premature, obviously,
Yeah.
because it
Yes.
would have come
Yes.
up had it not been the CUP. But I want you to know, folks, that I don't object to either.
Okay.
We
Okay.
do believe, and we've done our homework, that all 3 of these businesses, along with the city, would benefit. It's a win-win-win. Right now, it's a lose-lose-lose for my property sale that is supposed to be closing mid-December. So if nothing can be done, naturally, these folks, they're in a hurry because the state only gives you so much time.
Okay, well, Bruce, I think, unfortunately, I think you're talking to the wrong people
Yeah, I was
here.
gonna say, you might have to bring this to
You know.
the city council
Yeah.
or,
So,
yeah, that.
It's not that we're not sympathetic,
Sure.
but there's nothing we can do here tonight about that
No,
situation.
I understand, and I just was looking to.
And that's what this public hearing is about.
Sure. I was just looking to see that, because it's December 8th is when the next council meeting is, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay. My hope was that there would be something that we could speak about tonight that could put something in front of them, or
No,
how
but-
do I go about getting an audience or
Yes.
stating my case then, if that's the case.
So to be put on the agenda here, then you need to contact the city, and notices go out to the neighbors about the thing that we're going to be discussing, whether it's an IUP or CUP or whatever it is.
So I
Yeah.
recommend that you speak at the public hearing at the city council regarding this. We, again, as I mentioned earlier, you are referencing an issue with ordinance 2024-05. That is not up for discussion tonight. That was approved in December of 2024, if I remember correctly. That public hearing happened then. So that is, the standards for that are not up for approval or up for discussion tonight. If you would like to suggest an amendment to that ordinance or to our code, I suggest you bring that up at a public hearing at a city council meeting.
So is that a public hearing or a public
Or
forum?
a public forum,
Forum,
sorry, at the
Which
city
is at the
council
beginning
meeting,
of the
yes.
meeting,
Mhm.
is
Okay.
your best chance to get in.
So
front of them.
December 8th, come, be early,
Sign the sheet,
all
yeah.
right? Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it,
you.
and I thank
Okay.
you guys for your time.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
All right?
Yep.
Okay. Brittany left. Do you know if Brittany wanted to say anything?
She's the next one. She's the next one. This is,
Oh,
this
okay.
is a different one.
Okay, got it. So on the matter that's in front of us, Mr. Hussein, would you like to come up and talk to your request, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Ramadan Hussein. I'm the owner of the Smoke Saloon. And we actually had a license for over 2 years now. We were selling the same products. It's just that happened that the state took over the licensing and then gave the city. So we applied for the state since we know we already have a license, so we know that we're in the right zone. He was talking about cannabis license. We only do the low potency THC, which there is no actually distance regulation on that one. So we had nothing to do with dispensaries. We're just gonna be doing the gummies and the drinks, which is 5 milligram and 5 milligram THC in the drink and the gummies, which is a liquor store next door actually carries. So has nothing to do with dispensaries. we already have the tobacco license, so we're selling tobacco, and we're just gonna be keep selling the gummies that we're selling right now. And we already had the license, we got inspected by the states before many times, and we just adhere by the rules.
Mhm. Okay. Any questions
No.
No.
that you can think of? Christina?
Just to go, the signs, right, the whole
The
sign
signs,
thing, so just to bring that back up.
Take care of the signs. I will actually check with Grace or whoever is responsible with the signs to tell us which one should we keep and which one should we remove.
Perfect.
And if there is a license for it, we can apply for it and get a permit
Okay.
to have the signs. It's a matter of when we came in, we got the first sign approved, and then the signs on the window. Other cities don't really require signs for them, so I don't know
Okay.
if there is signs required for them here. But I will be removing the signs that the city tells me to remove, and keep the one they tell me to keep. If there's a permit, I'll apply for one, and just do it the way it's supposed to be done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, before I close that a little prematurely, did anyone else want to come up and speak to this matter? If not, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion from you valued people?
I don't have any concerns.
Yeah, I was just
Again,
gonna say, there's no reason to
no,
not.
I mean, looking through everything, it sounds like, I mean, they've had their license for a couple years, they've been doing this for a bit. It doesn't sound like they've had any issues. I don't see any problems with that.
Okay, and,
Yeah, as long as the conditions of approval are met.
mhm.
Agreed.
And Glenn Terry had some comments, but I'm not going to read them out loud. I think they really aren't appropriate for the conditional use permit. It was his opinion about the use of cannabis, marijuana. So I'm just not going to read those out loud.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty deep topic, and I'm glad the city hired who we did to investigate and set the standards. And I think we should vote along the lines of what got approved by city council through that process. And this meets that, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, after reading through the things, they've got the security plan, they've got,
Yeah.
there's no, it sounds like the police, like the police reports and that kind of thing, there hasn't been any issues or traffic issues or anything like that, so again, they're conducting business as they should.
Mhm. Yep, agreed. Okay, any more discussion? If not, can we have a motion, page 31, that first paragraph is kind of a good motion, if someone wants to make it.
Sure, I'll make a motion to, recommend the granting of the CUP for the lower potent hemp edibles retailer location at 18429 Highway 65.
That's good. Perfect. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second the motion. This is per the conditions of approval being met, correct?
Thank you,
Yes.
Brian, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Being none, that motion passes. And so thank you for coming up today, and that will go in front of the City Council December 8th. Thank you. And the next item,
Okay, we are moving on to our cannabis item now. This is a conditional use permit for a cannabis business at 18447 Highway 65 Northeast, Suite B. Brittany Yaris has applied for a CUP, or Brittany Yaris, the applicant and the owner of 5D Dispensary, has applied for a CUP to allow the operation of a cannabis microbusiness at 18447 Highway 65 Northeast, Suite B. This property is guided commercial and zoned B3 highway commercial. The properties to the north and south are guided and zoned the same. The property to the east is zoned and guided mixed use, and the property to the west is Highway 65. This is an existing business which, according to its website, sells holistic wellness products. State statute again requires that cannabis businesses be licensed by the state. That was due to that change in the state statute during the 2025 legislative session. Again, local government units are allowed to register these businesses, but they are subject to licensure by the state, which is a series of inspections and applications. So a small part of that is issuing a CUP to verify the zoning of a business, but from there, that is a state's licensing process and the city's registration process, which is separate from this. The request is to allow the operation of a microbusiness at 18447 Highway 65. Cannabis microbusiness is a conditional use within the B3 zoning district. The definition for a cannabis microbusiness is on your screen. I'm not going to read all of that. The gist of it is that microbusinesses can cultivate cannabis and manufacture cannabis products. Microbusinesses may also operate a single retail location. The applicant's application materials have not disclosed plans to do any cultivation or manufacturing of cannabis products. This would just be a retail location as it's been applied for with the application materials the city received. Endorsements may be required by the OCM. Other things may be required by the OCM. So again, the granting of a CUP by the city does not guarantee that the applicant will be granted the necessary licensure by the OCM. This just allows the city to verify that the zoning is met. The standards for review for the CUP are listed on the screen. Staff has also provided an analysis of these standards within your packet. Just as an overview, the applicant is not proposing any alterations to the site itself. Business description was included, or a narrative in the packet. This includes security and safety information. A floor plan was also included with the application materials, but has been redacted in your packet due to sensitive security information within that floor plan. This has been reviewed by staff, including the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department, who have provided no comments of concern on this application. Again, this is also subject to regulations and inspections by the OCM to obtain the licensure and the city to obtain registration. So they are subject to local, state, and federal laws for cannabis businesses. Again, those are Section 30 of the zoning ordinance and Chapter 18, Article 4 of the city code. These, again, set standards for noise, odor, hours of operation, signage, any of those types of things. The city finds that the materials submitted by the applicant do comply with the standards within Section 30 of the code and the CUP standards. Conditions have been recommended by staff. Many of these conditions pertain to following local, state, and federal laws, maintaining licensure, making sure that licenses are assigned to the correct person, that sort of thing. The city's discretion when evaluating a CUP is limited to whether the CUP meets the standards outlined in the code. Staff directs the Planning Commission to open the public hearing and make a recommendation to the City Council. Based on the applicant's submission and information available to you tonight, the Planning Commission may recommend approval or denial of the CUP. A draft resolution of approval has been prepared and may be modified, and a resolution of denial may also be prepared at the request of the Planning Commission with findings of fact determined by the Commissioners. I'm not going to give my disclaimer about discussion again. Again, we're evaluating the CUP standards, not the ordinance that was passed by the city. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we open the public hearing, do you have any questions for Grace?
No?
It's all clear now.
Okay, great. So I'm opening the public hearing for this matter, and if anyone who is not the owner of this business, come up, please, if you have any questions or comments, and then we'll kind of distill those. Okay. And if you could please state your name and your address.
I'm Emily. I'm at 18164 Highway 65 Northeast. And that's in, I guess it's Cedar, East Bethel, right on the cusp.
So, and you're Emily Scheid?
Emily Scheid,
Okay.
yes, yeah. I actually am a new resident to East Bethel, and I...
And could you pull the micros?
I'm a new resident to East Bethel,
Mhm.
and I and very much approve of this in our city. We need the business, the jobs, and the taxes for our city. So I think it'd be great for us here. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If that's not Brittany. Brittany, would you like to come up, please?
Hi, I'm Brittany Ayers. I am the owner of 5D Dispensary. I also own a couple other businesses in the area. In that building, I actually have Suite B, C, and E. So I've had multiple businesses and been a resident, lived on Coon Lake my whole life. So really want to see, business go in that is, we are holistic and wellness-based existing business. And then this would be leading in and building on that to help the community, educate them, give people an alternative to, you know, maybe traditional medicine that's not working for them or has failed them. And they're looking for a non-addictive, healthy way to kind of change their life, heal themselves. So there's just so many benefits to cannabis, adult use cannabis. Does anyone have any questions, I guess?
Yeah, so are you actually gonna be growing things right there? Or
No,
where are you?
nope. Grace kind of touched on that. We are only retail, so we'll only be pre-packaged product. We will not be having any loose flower. There'll be no odors.
Okay.
It will all be.
So in here was talking about the plants and things like that?
No,
Nothing at all?
well, that's too much. Like I said, we just want to kind of help people and provide alternative products. So that would be stuff, you know, lotions, drops, gummies. There will be flour. Like I said, it will be pre-packaged. We will not be doing any growing, cultivating. You can't come in and buy a bag of weed. You know, it's very high-end, high-classy, non-stigmatized. It'll be very different from a traditional dispensary.
And this is new, right? This is gonna be something that is an add-on to your current
Yeah,
business
so currently
structure.
we're selling like holistic, you know, personal products such as like deodorants that don't have aluminum and chemicals in them. We sell protein powder, we sell creatine, vitamins, supplements, stuff like that. And then, you know, we're obviously hoping to lead into more products that are holistic and help people, including adult use cannabis.
And that's the 5D Wellness?
Yeah, so
business.
the spa is technically 5D Wellness, spa and therapies, and then next door, Suite B would be 5D Dispensary, where we would sell those products. So two completely different businesses, two completely different suites, but both kind of go together, and that's, you know, kind of how I got my lead into this, is taking a holistic journey myself.
And Grace, I'm assuming that you're just up on all of the regulations that they need to do to keep those businesses separate and.
Yes, that's something our city attorney has been looking into. The CUP would only be for that suite that it is issued for. So Suite B, it would not be for any of the other suites owned by the applicant. And then I also just want to highlight that we don't, this is not an evaluation of the other functions of the business that may or may not be allowed by the OCM. So they may not be able to sell some of those wellness products. That's something that state law is a bit unclear on right now. So that is up to the OCM to regulate and go from there on that. So they're subject to inspections by the OCM.
Sure.
So
Are there separate entrances?
Yes, there are separate entrances to the suites. The floor plan, though it's redacted in your packet, did not show a connection between any of the suites, and that is something that will be inspected by the OCM and by the city when it does registration for the business.
Great. You guys have anything?
I don't.
No.
Okay. Oh, Brittany, thank you so much
Thanks.
for coming up. And I'm going to close the public hearing. And do you have any discussion? Any reasons we should not recommend the approval of the COP?
This might be so if we issue the COP for this business, does it stay on that site forever, or if she sold the business, does it go to the next owner? How does that work?
Yes, this is noted in the resolution. This was recommended by our city attorney. Conditional use permit must be issued to the entity that leases the space and obtains the OCM license.
Okay.
So if there were another business to come in, I need to do some more research to see if they would be required to apply for a conditional use permit too. I'll touch base with our city attorney on that and make sure that language is tightened up before the city council meeting.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I was under the understanding it was just for the applicant, and it's not.
Yes. Yes.
It's
CUPs
not like
typically run with the land. That's why we may have to tighten up some language in our conditions here.
Right.
I will check with our city attorney to make sure that everything is clear.
You know, council will definitely want to know the
Yes.
verdict on that before they vote on it.
Yes.
Good call.
Good question.
Yes, agreed. I have no further questions, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Well, if there's no other discussion, would someone like to make a motion on page 46 is kind of the help, that first paragraph could be a guide. And then remember to add the conditions or.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend approval of granting a conditional use permit for cannabis microbusiness located on 18447 Highway 65 Northeast, Unit B, per the conditions that have been laid out.
Fabulous. Is there a second?
I will second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. So that motion passes. And so that will go in front of the City Council December 8th. And I think that's it for that. And let's see what's the next thing on the agenda. So we're going to consider a site plan review for AMBA East Bethel Commercial.
Yes, this is a site plan review for AMBA East Bethel Commercial. AMBA Holdings LLC has applied for a site plan review for a multi-tenant commercial building located along Ulysses Street north of Village Bank. This property is 4.43 acres. It is guided commercial and zoned B3 highway commercial. The properties to the south are guided and zoned the same. The property to the north is guided and zoned mixed use, and the property to the west is guided and zoned light industrial. This property borders Highway 65 to the east. The proposed building is 20,400 square feet. It includes a daycare, which is a permitted use within the zoning district, and 3 retail storefronts whose tenants have not been defined yet. 11,860 square feet of the building would be the daycare, and 8,400 square feet of the building would be retail space. This building would have frontage to Ulysses Street. The request is for a site plan review to allow the construction of the proposed 20,400 square foot commercial building. When reviewing a site plan, the city's discretion is limited to whether the proposed site plan meets the standards outlined in the code. If it meets these standards, the city must approve the request. Site plan review is required for all new construction commercial buildings in East Bethel. Staff has provided an analysis of the standards for review of a site plan within your packet. These standards for review are listed on the screen. The applicant has not requested any variances for the approval of this site plan. The applicant has provided a site plan, a civil plan, parking, lighting, landscaping, and building plans, which are included in your packet. This is a quick look at the site plan. It includes the building, an outdoor play area for the daycare, and the parking lots and landscaping. One thing to note is that the city received a memo at the end of last week disclosing the presence of wetlands on the northern edge of this property. That is not included on the site plan. The city engineer has advised that staff continue with the evaluation of this project, presenting it to the Planning Commission tonight, but has added a condition of approval that the applicant shall obtain a wetland delineation and revise the plan to comply with all wetland buffer and setback requirements established by the city code. This is unlikely to have an impact on the building, but will likely reduce the size of the outdoor play area. But again, this has been advised by the city engineer to continue forth with this review, just adding that condition. And we will expect an updated site plan with that. This is a look at the elevations of the building. This meets our city standards for architecture, has the required amount of stone, glass, and siding material on this building. One thing to note is that the siding material that is proposed on this building is not explicitly a permitted material within our code. The applicant is proposing LP Smart siding, which is, by many opinions, a superior material to things like stucco and other things that we allow. So our code does allow the city council to approve superior materials or comparable materials to what is allowed. So that will be consideration at that meeting, whether the material of this building is allowed. Staff will recommend approval of that, though. To summarize, the ordinance includes standards for the site plan review. Staff finds that the general site plan standards have been met without the need for variances, pending that wetland delineation. City engineer, city attorney, and city staff have reviewed and provided comments which have been added as conditions of approval on this project. Again, this meets the standards for lot coverage, setbacks from property lines, landscaping, architecture, lighting, parking. This has been reviewed by, additionally, the fire department, and the applicant will just need to update those plans to address all of the comments that are recommended. The staff directs the Planning Commission to make a recommendation to the City Council based on the submission and the information available to you tonight. You may recommend approval or denial of the site plan. A draft resolution with findings of fact for approval has been included in your packet with conditions to address the comments by staff. A draft resolution may be modified to reflect the findings of the Planning Commission. And if denial is recommended, a draft resolution of denial can be prepared. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so here you talk about public testimony, but we were not scheduled for a public hearing, right?
You're right. I forgot to remove that. Yes.
So we're not taking.
No public hearing. Yes,
Okay.
no public hearing tonight.
Got it. Okay, any questions for Grace, first of all? Can you, I will apologize, I didn't get a chance to look at this really closely. Where is this located, as opposed to like Viking and 65?
Yes. So this is. Let me pull up a map here. As you can see.
It's right by the gas.
Yeah, right by the gas
station.
station,
North
Village
of
Bank,
gas station.
Of
north
Holiday,
of the
not
Holiday.
Microsoft.
Yes.
Yep, north of
Uh-huh.
So kind of by
Yes,
Village,
across from where the townhomes would be.
so north of Village Bank?
Yes, that site.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep.
It's nice, I mean, it's nice to see that many kids in a daycare.
200 plus, as I said, and it'll.
Yeah.
I can
Again,
report
that's
that.
subject to licensure by the state. This is another instance of we
Okay.
can approve the building, but the occupants of the building still need to obtain the necessary approvals from the city or the state. So,
That's
yes.
great.
And the retail space also.
Yes.
Questions?
No questions. Conditions have been, laid out for approval, but or aside from the wetland delineation, and then the siding, which can be approved by city council, I think no reason to deny this one.
I agree.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion on this?
I will make a motion to approve the resolution for the site for a multi-tenant commercial building located on property at PIN number 32, 33, 23, 21, 0012, with the conditions of the wetlands delineation.
Conditions recommended by staff. Just that entire list.
Okay,
probably.
sorry, and the recommendations by staff.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Wonderful. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion passes. Okay. So our next item, I don't have the email with me today, but Tanner Belfany tendered his resignation today due to just time constraints in his personal life right now. And I think that's effective immediately then, correct?
Yes, it is effective immediately. So you guys just need to accept the resignation, make a motion to accept that.
Oh, thank you very much. So he wrote, please accept this email as my formal resignation from the East Bethel Planning Committee. My responsibilities in personal life and work have changed over the years and no longer afford the time and energy that I feel is required for the position. I've greatly appreciated all of your friendships and camaraderie over this past 15 years. I wish all well and feel free to reach out anytime. Have a great Thanksgiving to you all. So thank you, Brian, very much. I publicly want to thank Tanner for his service 15 years on the Planning Commission. And he's given a lot, and we've all had different opinions, and that was great to bring all these to the table. So is there a motion to accept his resignation? I don't know, we would have to have it,
Yes, let's make a motion on that.
okay.
yes.
I'll make a motion to accept Tanner Belfany's resignation.
And is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
And no further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? We are unanimous tonight on everything, so that passes. And the last one is the staff update.
Yes, I will keep this brief. As Mr. Mundell mentioned earlier, there's a posting on the city's website now for a senior city planner position. So that's of interest to anyone watching this. I recommend you apply. In connection with that, I submitted my resignation to the city at the beginning of November, with my last day being December 12th. If I presented your item tonight, I'll be presenting it on December 8th, and then probably trying to track you down after that so we can get some of those last things, those conditions and those last things sorted out and in a good place for whoever's taking over after me. I'd just like to thank city staff, residents, and you all in the Planning Commission for your patience and trust as I've learned this role. I've really appreciated that, and I'm wishing you all the best going forward. Thank you.
And I as well thank you, Grace. You kind of had to jump in with both feet, didn't you? And you did a great job when you were here.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's a hard job. You did great, Grace.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Thank you very
wish
much for
well.
your hard work, Grace.
Thank you. That's all I've got.
Okay, great. Is there a motion to adjourn the
I
meeting?
will make a motion to adjourn.
No? Oh, great. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. So thank you,
So
everybody.
what if